Hi, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 23, To the Skies.
Yep.
Or Chetney's Night Out.
Yeah. Travis tends towards evil characters, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's been waiting to do this.
Grog wasn't evil, yes, but Grog was his learning character. That was his first time playing D&D. Since then.
Yeah. Man.
Yes, thank you, Rose.
Rolled amazing until the end. And it was perfectly foreshadowed by his inability to grapple her. And then the 7 to break through the door and he bounces off. And of course, Travis rolled with it. He enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I think he probably had more fun than everyone else at that moment.
It's fun to fail sometimes in D&D.
Yeah. Ashley tries to, I want to see if I notice. Nope.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get more of that?
Of actually trying to notice things? Or
No,
of Chetney being evil?
Of Chetney going off and...
Oh, yeah.
Searching for economic justice.
Yeah, that's what you're going with?
Yeah. I mean, he was punishing her for price gouging.
He was punishing her because he didn't get the deal he wanted.
I mean...
Splitting hairs, I know, but... yes, we will see him striking out and taking pettiness to a new level more often.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. Change from the last 2 campaigns happened when they gave Ashley the hole.
She's the new Grog.
She's now the quartermaster. Because Ford had the bag of holding.
So did Grog.
Too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Travis, that was his role for the group.
Yeah.
Do you think they discussed giving it to him and he said no? Or...
No.
No?
I think Sam just did it.
Because that was the most chaotic choice?
Yeah. Sam did it because that was a Sam thing to do. And his justification was she's going to end up with half the shit anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been a choice because X player is playing Y character. I mean, we don't know why Grog got it because that happened before stream. Ford was the one who initially got the bag, so it's not like someone else got it and gave it to him.
Yeah.
This was a party purchase, and Sam just did the most Sam thing and gave it to the most chaotic person to be responsible for it.
Yeah, her going rogue. The thing is, the portable hole is not easily accessible. It's not like the bag of holding.
No.
Which you can just reach your hand in and take stuff out.
It's
your vault.
It's in between the bag of holding and the genie's vessel for the genie pact warlock.
Okay.
The Genie Pack Warlock's a little bit bigger, but you can only access it once a day.
Yeah. Them testing the limits was funny.
Like Matt said, it's the most D&D thing to do.
Yeah.
How to exploit a hole.
And oh wait, no, I'm conflating this. Last week or the week before. I was going to talk about Liam saying, extra dimensional bag of holding plus this means bad news.
Yeah.
But that was the week before. I loved them talking about their conjured real estate journey through the 3 campaigns. We started with Scanlan's magnificent mansion, and then we had the tower.
Which was, that's straight across.
Yeah. But I love how they're like, and now we're in the spider hole. This is the prepper shelter. And it was hilarious to me that they're like, how can we decorate it?
Yeah. Dancing lights, can it just be like, Christmas lights strung up around the ceiling? Sure, why not? And then
Yeah.
Fern went Big Lebowski. Rug would have tied the whole place together.
Yeah. I knew I should have stolen that rug. Yeah. She's got to get a rug. And
I hope she does it Lebowski style too, where she ties some. Well, yeah, he said I could take any rug I want. Oh, please, Ashley, if you see this, go Big Lebowski.
Or to get it, she pees on it. She just does the reverse. And just has Imogen prestidigitate.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did you know satyrs, or I guess fawns, are marsupials?
So, proof that Ashley really was listening to that episode, that she wasn't on screen. Because they didn't joke about that when she was on the video. But, yeah. The Fern's marsupial pouch. I wonder if you could do, well, I mean, you could do a magic item that makes a pouch. Call it Flesh Pocket.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the wrist pocket spell.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to stretch it, it doesn't have to be the wrist.
True. Fair, yeah.
Magical fanny pack. Yes, I like it, Rose.
Sam asked about building a platform to lay the thing out, and if they could carry the platform, if it would move. And Matt was like, maybe. And when he said that, I was like, that's an interesting thing for Tensor's floating disk.
An hour at a time.
Well, also, it would help you get around Tensor's floating disk limitations.
Yeah. Weight limitations.
Yeah.
Tensor's floating disk, throw the pole on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. If Matt holds true to, that would work. But I don't think there's anything in the item description that says if it's moved, it collapses. Only if it's folded. So long as the movement doesn't fold the...
Yeah, no. I would say it would work. I would allow it.
Yeah. They get cookies from Esteros and the statue, the bust. And watching that scene made me wonder if I've wasted my time cooking. And I should have been baking. Because they seem to appreciate baking more than cooking. It's because they're like, we have to matchmake him with somebody. I guess I focused on the wrong, put my skill points in the wrong.
Same.
We get a Dorian burn in absentia when Ashton's asking about somebody who can change their face with illusion magic. And Fern's like, oh, I think Dorian did that a couple times. Oh, the one time that guy is useful, he's not here. And much love to Travis, continuing to be my avatar at the table. When Matt's introducing the captain, and everyone's repeating Captain Xandis, and my brain went exactly where Travis eventually went, which is Captain Zayas, Captain Zayas. But yeah. Which I always think of The Simpsons. Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Spoof. Denalia, the bugbear chef with social anxiety.
Yep.
Matt has a type.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to notice this. He likes the larger creatures being chefs and being demure, quiet folk. Do you think we'll ever see him put in a fiery, mean chef?
If we do, it'll be like a halfling.
So not a. Let's see. What hasn't he done yet? That might work.
Full orc minotaur.
Minotaur. Yeah. Basically make him like a Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Just cussing up a storm. You can't do anything right. Kind of thing. We get a lovely description of the Hellcatch Valley. And rather verbose. And this is one of those times where Matt had it written out.
Yeah.
And he's reading what they see. And I didn't think of this until my rewatch.
Okay.
As he's talking, first they sort of lay the seeds, the foundation, with Ashton talking about the crawling gangs. And then later they pass over a city called King's Fall. And aside from the King's Landing joke that I thought of when I was watching the episode, on my rewatch, I was like, Hellcatch Valley, all the sinkholes that appear, some even disappear, the crawling gangs, is King's Fall where the crawling king got put down?
Maybe.
Like, in Campaign 2, we were sort of led to believe that the Crawling King was in Jorhas, or was being trapped in Jorhas.
Mm-hmm.
But that may not have been entirely accurate.
Yeah.
Or King's Fall may be where he originally came to Exandria. And they just trapped him in Jorhas.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot about the Calamity we don't know. And maybe Exandria Unlimited, the next round of it, will fill in some of those gaps.
Yeah.
And it will be interesting to see how that connects with what's happening in this campaign. And I'm especially excited at the prospect that Travis has to hold himself back from being the vehicle of exposition. Because he's going to be a player in it.
Yeah. Technical difficulties. One moment.
I need the TV remote. Too long with no input. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Or do you think maybe they're counting on Travis never remembering anything, and he won't have that?
I don't know. I'd be more. I'm more worried about Sam setting up some kind of prank or something that'll backfire.
That he can lay a seed that 800 years later in his current campaign,
Yeah.
he can let off.
I mean, he is known for the long game for a reason.
Yeah, that's true.
If anyone's going to do something, I would expect it to be Sam, because you got Travis, Sam, and Marisha in the game.
Yeah, that's fair. I hadn't considered that.
That's okay. In a few minutes, we'll be talking about something that you consider that I didn't.
I loved Ashton and Imogen talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt a little like Han and Luke in episode 6. And Luke's like, I used to live here, you know. And Han's like, you're going to die here, you know.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that there. But he asked her how it is up here, and she said it's quiet or it's peaceful. And she's like, well, Chetney's a little loud. And he says, what if I think about the time that I was fighting that dude? And thinks loudly at her about it. And she says, thank you? I don't know that I should thank you. He's like, pain is better when it's shared. I was like, yeah, if that's not a Taliesin axiom carried through all 3 campaigns. And I especially liked his you're scarier than me.
Yeah.
Which is the first time that we've had a barbarian actually express that part of the mythos around barbarians.
Yes.
Because barbarians in the books are distrustful of magic, and there's stuff in there.
Yeah.
Mostly in Xanathar's.
Yeah.
Where they detail some of that stuff. But Ashton is the first one to be like, yeah, you're scary. And I think part of it is because, as we've learned, the source of his power is magic.
Yeah.
So, more interesting stuff coming. The setup. Oh, Orym doing the Zephyr Atom was a great moment. Mm-hmm. And he says, "Morning, Dad," to the son. And in the moment, when on my first watch, I was like, huh? And then on my rewatch, I was like, oh, Dawn Father.
Yeah, and I never thought that. My first watch, I was like, that's a bad joke. Because the morning sun, morning dad, just a dad joke kind of thing. And then I was like, well, his dad's been out of his life almost his entire life, assumed to have passed away. Could have been a spiritual thing, but there's a reason he doesn't use his father's name. And I remember Derek, and remember we talked about his husband Will being Derek's son Will, died. And Derek had a similar tattoo, but had a sun instead of a moon. So, because there was the breeze that accompanied it, so I was thinking Arashari. It was some kind of spiritual connection there to his father-in-law. Never thought Dawnfather, though. Until after I wrote my, Liam has levels about, the joke, and then looked over and saw yours, I was like, oh, see, another level.
Yeah. And it would be Liam that would craft that.
Yeah.
That much stuff. Yeah. But Matt says you see something in the clouds. And he's like sort of snake-like. And I got excited. I was like, "Be here? I was like, they're about the right level to face one." But no, it was some strange sky manta ray.
Yeah.
That he used cloakers for as the minis. The combat was about an hour long.
Yeah.
And about 48 minutes between roll initiative and how do you want to do this.
Yeah.
Because really, I don't count the combat as being over until Orym is back on the ship.
Yeah, okay.
And that took another 15-ish minutes.
Yep.
10, 15 minutes. And Orym takes the hand of both ladies, Imogen and Laudna.
Mm-hmm.
You guys saved my life. And I'm like, well, you save ours all the time. And he's like, so I was like, no, you saved my life.
Yeah.
Like, what he has done has helped them survive, I think, in his mind. Like, he doesn't feel that he's saved anybody.
Yeah.
Not really. He's contributed to the group's overall survival.
Right.
But to be able to point to your actions that you definitely kept this person from dying, I don't think he has that. Where the two of them, he's like, you guys definitely saved my life.
Yeah. And he's not wrong in that line of thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
I not to derail the conversation of the episode, but I just had a thought about the EXU calamity. So we have the theory that FCG is just refurbished, right? And we know he's an Aormaton.
Is he playing an Aormaton?
Is Sam playing pre-refurbished FCG? Different name, same, maybe different look, like paint job, but same basic shape, and see what he was before he got refurbished.
It's not impossible.
Like, if his description is anything similar in build to FCG, my headcanon will be that this was FCG before the Calamity and Aor fell, and because his personality, I mean, look at Devaxian / Charlie, completely different personalities before and after.
That's true.
This could be completely different personalities, completely different class, but if it's the same basic build description, my headcanon is going to be this is FCG before the fall. I'm just gonna, we're wild speculation. I'm gonna just throw it out there. That's my call. Sam is playing FCG before the fall.
That airs in June?
Yeah.
So it's possible that we get to where they found him
before then,
and they uncover some things that will shed light on that. And they've got to be pre-recording it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible by the time they go on the break, they will have already filmed it.
Yeah. Yeah, and good call. He may play like an artificer. Like a battlesmith artificer, and his steel defender is FCG. His Dodie.
Yeah.
That would be awesome too. Yes. Good call, Rose.
I don't know if he would do another artificer. Is my only thing there.
I don't know if he would either. The only reason he would be to introduce FCG's original.
Yeah. That okay, yeah. That's fair. I could see Travis doing that, though. If it's gonna be Artificer and Steel Defender, and that becomes FCG, I could see Travis doing the Artificer. Just for the trolliness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I thought of when Imogen displays her new spell from the level up, Fly, at least I am presuming it is from the level up and not from the crystal.
Yeah.
She seemed to try to put it on the crystal, but Fly is a sorcerer spell. And people fly a lot in dreams.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes sense to me that that's one of her sorcerer spells. But Matt's description of it, and I don't know if he talked with her beforehand, or if he just took it off of Laura's physicality when she talks about her hair rising and then she does like this and I take off. But Matt talks about how there's purple energy coming off of her hands and feet.
Yeah.
And before I sort of brushed aside any sort of parallels with Agatha from WandaVision, but that flight bit was very much like, I mean, you Scarlet Witch or Agatha.
Yeah.
But it made me a little nervous.
It's Imogen all along.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially after the, to Gollum or not to Gollum that she had very soon after that.
Yeah.
But we're getting ahead. FCG officially pitches co-dreaming.
Yeah.
And I am wondering if that isn't his new channel divinity.
Yeah.
Because dream interpretation can be a big part of therapy.
Yeah.
It's a big part of Freud. Freud's methodology. So what if his channel divinity that he got at 6th level is being able to enter and or bring others into a dream?
Yeah.
Because he seemed like when Sam talks like that, he has a particular spell or ability in mind that he's going to use. And there's no spell that allows you to do that.
Yeah.
There's the spell dream, which you can make somebody dream.
Right.
And send them a message, I think is what it is. And then you get a response when you go to sleep.
And speaking of that, in the fight we saw part of Ashton's 6th level.
Oh, the portal
range upgrade. When he's in space, he can, in the space mode, he can do the portal.
Do you think that was an upgrade or a rewrite?
I think it was the 6th, because don't they usually get a subclass thing at 6th level?
Yeah.
I think it was the 6th level upgraded version. When you're raging, depending on which rage, you have this ability.
And I was trying to figure out why he only used it. Well, I guess he used it 3 times, didn't he? 2 attacks on 1 turn, and then for his opportunity attack, I think he used it.
Yeah.
And then he didn't use it again. But if it's proficiency times,
that would be the correct number.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I feel like it's a rewrite and not an extension. Because it happened as a result of his dice. Or maybe...
Well...
Or maybe you're right, and maybe each one has an extension.
Yeah.
An added ability.
And that's how Crit Roll Stats labels it on his character sheet.
And they probably all have to do with movement, because a lot of the Barbarian 6th level stuff has to do with movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great...
Gravity one probably makes it difficult terrain for enemies around him.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
But during his pitch, Laudna comes in, led by Pate. And is probably the best "Hey, I'm here too" that's ever been done on the show. And Taliesin with Caduceus just basically assumed if I'm anywhere within 25 feet of these people, I'm hearing whatever it is they're saying. And he just went with that. But I appreciated her, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Thing. FCG gives us more Flat Exandria. The longest part of the episode.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I fell asleep there. Or no, it was after Fern puts the merkin on sashimi. Merkin, as Matt called it. I loved the description of Laudna sleeping.
Yes.
That her eyes are sort of open. And I love Taliesin adding, it's like a death rattle every time she breathes. Every breath is going to be her last. So good. And actually, it would fit with how she died, too.
Yeah.
That adds a dark layer to that now. Which I guess is Laudna. Funny and dark.
Which is why I love her.
Yeah.
Funny and dark, everything I aspire to be.
And I loved her callback to FCG, talking about, you guys have souls, I don't.
Yeah.
And they do have souls. Which makes me wonder if Laudna ascribed to the Toy Story line of existence for her toys. Yeah, Rose, yeah. Well, yeah. Stranger on anyone coming upon Laudna. Yeah.
Except for a Disney prince, then you just try to wake her up with a kiss.
Which informs her talking about, I'm a dead girl, people have kinks, even more.
She was out in the woods by herself for a long time.
Somebody did that to her. For sure.
Oh.
But that brings us to the other bookend of this episode.
Oh,
the beginning being Chetney's revenge story, and the end being Imogen and Laudna talking silently to one another on deck about the crystal. And a couple lines back and forth, and Matt chimes in with this heartbeat that's insistent. Something is, and he said it a couple ways, a couple times, that you want to look at the crystal.
And it really gives a new angle to what I said earlier about Delilah Laudna being like Voldemort Quirrell.
Yeah.
And it really shows how much power Delilah can exert over Laudna.
Yeah, and I'm torn with whether or not Marisha knew where Matt was going, or...
I don't think she did, based on her expressions and the way she looked at Matt a couple of times. I think she found out then and there, but she knows her husband well enough that she was able to just go with it.
Because I can see it either way. I can see it that she knew something was up, or Matt has given hints to things in the past this way.
Mm-hmm.
Where Matt thinks or knows or needs one of the players to provide exposition.
Yeah.
And he starts dropping those kind of things.
And I think they all know each other well enough, but especially her and him being married, and just, there was a couple of times the look she just shot at him was like, are you fucking serious? We're going there? So that was my take.
Yeah.
I can see both interpretations, but my belief is that she just picked up on what he was putting down and went with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a patron. You are in a contract. You know?
Yeah, and...
Did you read the company policy?
I don't think there should be a save.
No. And if it's any kind of save, it would be a will save, not a con save.
Yeah, well, and remember, campaign 2, Ford didn't get any kind of save.
No.
When he saw the glass eye. Matt let him decide, are you going to pick up the crystal or not? But as soon as Travis decided, I'm picking up the crystal, Matt's like, this happens next.
Yep.
Now you have to deal with it.
And he let her decide whether she was going to touch the rock. And once she did, this is what happens. You know, That's part of the beauty of the Warlock.
Yeah.
From either a player or a DM perspective, that is why you choose Warlock. Is because you want shit like that to be able to happen. You want that story.
I mean,
that is why I choose Warlock. Okay, let me rephrase that. I know where you're going, but to me, that is the beauty of the Warlock class.
Yeah, for sure.
And it sets her up to take level 3 and make Pate her fucking familiar, which I've been saying she needs to do since episode 1.
And see, maybe, because I got from when she was talking to her, especially when she's the setup line of, I know what it's like to not know if your thoughts are your own. Or your feelings are really your own, or something along those lines. Like, in that, where she's talking about using power from some other source. I was like, I don't think she's going to take any more levels of Warlock.
Yeah. Like, I don't think she is, but if there's ever a roleplay reason to, it was this moment.
Yeah. Well, and especially with Fern setting her up with wanting to imbue Pate. Like, this episode definitely was like, okay, next level could be Warlock.
Yeah. You know, or even if it's just Delilah, you know, if it's her taking a level in Warlock, strengthening that bond with Delilah on some false promise that Delilah will restore the stone so she can repair her relationship with Imogen. My question is, who took the power? Was it Delilah taking the power?
Oh, yeah.
Or was it Laudna? I mean, ultimately it's to serve Delilah, but the way he described it with the warmth in her chest, was it bringing her more alive so that Delilah can have a living vessel to inhabit?
Maybe. I took that as being Delilah is getting what she wants, so her life is returning to her.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Sort of like how Ukotoa promised Ford power, gifts, if you consume, you know.
Yeah.
This was Delilah consuming that crystal. And we know it's from the Feywild and is some sort of planar gate crystal, a la in The Witcher. Why am I drawing a blank? The obelisk, I can't remember what they call them in the show. Anyway, yeah. Planar anchors is what they end up basically being. But I love, and Delilah, this is much too dangerous for you. I'll take care of it for you. And her saying, she tries to drop it. No. And Matt the tone of voice that Matt says is, no, you don't. Sorry, this is happening.
very Moon Knight episode 1. No, yeah, here, take it. No, I've been trying to give it to you.
And I could see, like, to me, Laura was having a, how much Golem am I going to put into this?
Yeah.
And I half expected it to become the Smeagol and Deagle scene, where Laudna suddenly has it, can't give it up. Does Imogen freaking take her by the throat? Give it to me! And when she finally opened her hand, and it's cracked, like Laura, the way Laura was playing it, I half expected her to use her telekinetic ability to throw her off the edge of the ship.
Yeah,
and I wonder if that crossed her mind.
I think it did. But I think, Imogen is basically and now I'm drawing a blank on Marianne from Gilligan's Island. And she's, yes, she has power, yes, she's capable, but, I mean, she's just this sweet little thing, country girl.
Or the normal one in the Munsters.
Yes.
Not going to try to remember.
And, no, me neither. But she's, and, I think how she played it was perfect, just being her, you were my best friend in the world.
Yeah. You lied to me.
They were the closest that any two PCs were in this campaign.
Yeah.
And they've got a rift now.
Yeah.
And it's not going to patch easily. There's going to be hurt. There's going to be distrust for a long time.
Yeah. Well, especially because, leading up to that, Imogen is telling Laudna, I feel safe with it. And interesting that I don't know if that's good or not.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes a parallel with Vexalia. And I think Imogen and Vexalia, I think we are going to find have a lot in common, personality-wise. Both have fathers who, from their perception, didn't want them. Vexalia believed their father didn't want to see them again in Singorn.
Yeah.
And resisted going. And now Imogen...
She wasn't entirely wrong.
Their dad did not want them. I don't know. But anyway, Imogen started out implying she would be willing to return home. But the first time it was seriously suggested, she's like, no.
Yeah.
No, my dad didn't want me there. So there's an avoidance attachment issue that Imogen has. And just like with Vex, allowed Vax to be that attachment. And then later, after, 80 episodes, something like that, Percy was allowed in. Where it's been Laudna.
Yeah.
And now she's broken that. In a similar way that Vax'ildan endangered her perception of their bond when he was falling for Keyleth. Which, in the cartoon, they sort of condensed a lot of that.
Yeah.
And put it in up front.
Well, they kind of had to.
Yeah. So, we talked about how Liam has a type and a through line. I think this may be Laura's. Because
Mm-hmm.
Jester, daddy issues.
Yeah.
As well. Where she was looking for connection. She's on the other side.
Yeah.
Of that dichotomy. So yeah, I think who do you think she reaches out to in the group? Because part of me wants to say Orem.
Yeah. He's really, like, it's only part of me that wants to say him, but the other part doesn't want to pick anybody, you know? Like, he's the only one who...
Well, FCG is a possibility. But...
if it's Imogen and FCG, it's going to be because... And no offense to Sam, no offense to FCG, it's going to be because FCG butts his way into it. Because to this point, no one's gone to FCG. FCG goes to people when he sees something.
That's true. That's true. And Orem, of all of them, is the most rooted and focused.
And understanding.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the other side of the coin too, Rose, is he loves to ignore his problem by working on your problem.
Yeah. Couples counseling, yep, marriage counseling.
Which is also something Caleb did. Caleb would ignore his problems to help you.
No, he'd help you to ignore his problems.
Yeah. So, and I can definitely see Orem doing that too.
Yeah.
And I don't think... I don't know. It's... But I could also kind of see it be Ashton. Because Ashton has been the most accepting of her gifts, in the sense that he's also the only one who has been willing to tease her about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the ball, the one she went to with her worry about all the people was Orem.
Yeah.
And I'll get you out of here, you know. So that's why I say Orem.
Yeah.
She's already expressed a predisposition to go to him of the others.
It's fair. Yeah, and it's not going to be Chetney because all he's going to say is embrace the alpha.
Yeah.
And yeah, Fern maybe, but I don't think anyone thinks of Fern as the person you go to for advice.
I don't think even Fern thinks of Fern as the person you go to for advice. Yeah, I agree, Rose. It's Orem unless FCG notices something and butts in first.
I think how because I think if memory serves, the timing is such that the next day or two in game, so definitely the first half of next episode, they're going to get to where they're going.
Yes.
I don't know if there's any loose threads between the characters that they're going to want to tie up. Or if any of them are going to lay out more threads. Because that's the only thing that will delay us getting to our destination. Django, it's a good point about Ashton knowing betrayal, but I don't... He hasn't said he feels betrayed. Or hadn't until they exposed the memories. Maybe he feels differently now. Especially with leave him, he's dead. That seemed to hit him pretty hard.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Because he also was straight up with Bell's Hells. If we get into the scrape, I'm leaving your asses behind and saving myself. He was upfront about that. And said he didn't have any ill will towards his friends. Although his reaction to the heist, to the museum, was a reaction to betrayal.
Yeah.
So, maybe he lied. Nobody did an insight check on him.
I think...
Which I'm taking advantage of in our Sunday game, by the way. Say shit. Nobody wants to make an inside check. Okay. But yeah. But it will be interesting to see how they go about once they're dropped off. And them going through the city and will be the first time anyone will have to see that something is different between Imogen and Laudna. And I'm most excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
The subtle things that Laura and or Marisha do to highlight the fissure between them now.
Yeah.
And stat-wise, FCG, Orem, and Fern are the three most likely to notice that.
Yeah.
On
the flip side, Imogen and Laudna are the two most likely to hide it well.
True. Very true. Very true.
Because at least Laudna, but I believe both of them are trained in deception. And both of them have good charismas.
Yes. Yeah, you're looking at plus 7 or 8 for each of them. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I think we get...
Yeah, his insane. And when he mentioned that, I looked at Dan during our pre-show watch. I was like, until he hits 8th level and takes skill expert, so he has expertise in perception.
Yeah. Which would be 4, 8, 11.
That's interesting, Snoopy. FCG goes to Laudna and
Orem to Imogen.
I think Orem will wait till one of them comes to him. Because he doesn't...
Yeah.
He may ask, are you okay? Or is anything going on? But he won't pry.
Yeah.
FCG will pry.
Yeah. Also, we are going to be covering EXU Calamity.
Yep.
But I guess we'll have to wait until Thursday to see what actually happens. I think there's still too much up in the air that I'm not comfortable speculating exactly what's going to be happening.
Yeah, agreed.
Crowbar to their privacy, indeed. Yes. Yeah, and we will see you guys the following Tuesday right here. Till then.